Hello, it's Doc here for the ReadySetCrypto OMNIA newsletter market update for Wednesday, the 25th of March. Don't want to keep beating a dead horse and talking about the same thing, but right now we are sort of tied at the hip with the larger equities markets. We've seen a bounce in the equities markets over, the last couple of days. I just don't think that this is going to last all that long at this point. So let's get rid of this, and actually let's get rid of the volume so we can see this a little better. So we've come off the bottom, put a new low in on Monday and bounced up. That's a high wave candle, which means indecision, and that may be about as far as we get before we roll over again. Tomorrow we've got jobless claims reporting in the morning at 8:30 a.m. Eastern time. I think they're going to be shocking, although you'd have to think the market is anticipating that. But there's all kinds of reasons where I think we're going to be diving down and retesting these lows from a technical, from a fundamental, and just a historic basis. That's normally what happens. We do not usually just take off from this point, although there is enough money sloshing around out there that it wouldn't surprise me even if it did. But the probabilities do favor a retest of the lows. So what does that mean to Bitcoin? We'll see. I think that we'll find that it handles it pretty well. I think most of the margin calls and all the shock and awe was back in this end over here. So even if we do see a retest of the lows, I don't think it's going to take Bitcoin down to 4,000 or anything like that. So I think we're still good to sell against Bitcoin at the 4,000 level if we want to. We're getting a little thin. Looks like they're doing maintenance on the, it's difficult to see, but if you look carefully here, you can still sell out, and we're having to go out to June at this point, but we're still showing some pretty good credits out there, maybe around the June timeframe. April is getting a little thin because we're now getting about less than a month away for that. The other thing I want to bring to your attention is notice how the implied volatility was relatively low throughout the equities crash, and then all of a sudden it caught up to it around the 12th of March. This is around the time of the Ackerman report. And relatively high. It's remained relatively high, so it's still okay to sell right now, especially on any pullback. I believe is a fundamentally good trade right now, either to sell puts or to dollar cost average, those kind of things. We will look for decoupling. Right now we are tied at the hip with the equities markets, but I'm going to look for that to decouple as this bear market goes on further. And I would imagine that Bitcoin should be a little bit more isolated from it than the equities market. But we'll, as always, the price never lies. We can only project what we think we might happen, but we'll have to respond based on what price does. Again, little concerned that we are bear flagging on a lot of these top 10 cryptos at this point. So I'm still watching Bitcoin. That is where I have the greatest hopes at this point. That's it for today's report. Thanks for listening. We'll see you tomorrow, folks.